Are your kids on medication? Hi, welcome back to Supermom Knows Best. I'm Erin. Today we're going to do another hot topic, medications. Oh, this gets tricky. A lot of people are wondering if we are over-medicating our children when parents are claiming that they have ADD and ADHD and can't sit still, and the teachers are begging for the kids to be put on drugs so they calm down. I believe that every kid needs to be taken on a case-by-case basis. I do not think this is a topic that we can just generalize and say as a whole that the whole country has gone nuts and it's big pharma and we're putting all these medications and chemicals into our children. I don't think it's that simple. I think every kid is different. I think every person is different. I think everybody's chemistry is different. And what works for one may not work for another. And I think that's what needs to be taken into consideration. Not just this, oh, Billy's mom says her kid has ADD and mine acts just like him and I'll just borrow his ADD medication. We can't do that. That's how things get overlooked and overmissed. I've told this story before back in my labels video about how back when I was 7 years old, my first grade teacher did not catch that I had a learning disability. When I was diagnosed at the end of first grade, I received the diagnosis of being dyslexic and having ADD. At the start of second grade, to help me concentrate, I was given the standard Ritalin. I took it twice a day to help calm me down, help me focus. Back at the start of second grade, I started taking Ritalin and I was given it twice a day. I took it in the morning when I woke up and I took it at lunch at school. I did that for 2 years. By fourth grade, at the beginning of fourth grade, I told my mom that the Ritalin wasn't working. And if I wanted to stare at my friend using the pencil sharpener, by golly, I was going to. The medication was not keeping me on track as it is intended. So my mom said, fine, stop taking it. If you feel that it's not working for you, then just don't take it. So I stopped taking it in the fourth grade and I never looked back. When my boys came along, my little one, bless him, I think every disability that my husband and I have went into that kid. He won the genetic lottery. He's a high-functioning level 1 with a mild case of dyslexia and ADHD. He is this wonderful ball of wax. That took us a long while to figure out how to help. When he was little, he had GI issues and had a really hard time gaining weight. And that poor kid was just skin and bones. I couldn't get food to stick to him if I wanted to. But by first grade, it was evident that his ADHD was running him like crazy. He couldn't make eye contact. He thought he had a stutter because his brain was moving so fast he couldn't get a word out. He literally bounced when he stood still. His speech teacher, who is a friend of mine, told me to watch him in class was just pitiful because he couldn't make eye contact and he couldn't get a sentence out. We had tried non-stimulus medication before because that's less abrasive and it won't cause you to lose weight, but it wasn't working. He couldn't handle. He wouldn't make it through school. And I knew the kid was super bright and we knew that his brain was just moving faster than his mouth could keep up. We knew he was going to be something brilliant and amazing, but we had to slow down his brain. After a lot of debate and a lot of discussion, we put him on 1 and 2 medications. He takes 1 pill twice a day just to help keep him calm, help him to stay level-headed. The other pill he takes only on school days, only just to give him that little bit of push to help him focus. Then on top of that, he takes an over-the-counter magnesium pill, which magnesium also helps keep you calm. And between these 3, he can make it through the day. He is an amazing student. He has all A's and has kept him all this school year. I was a little nervous because he started middle school this year and I didn't know how that was going to go. But he has been knocking it out of the park. Now, I hear you. Did it change his personality? Because that's what they say. It turns you into a zombie if you put your child on medication. No. This child's personality is the exact same. He is still bubbly. He is still loud. He is still crazy. To help him out, he has a little exercise trampoline in his room so he can go bounce it out when he just gets overstimulated. When he gets so wired up and so excited, he goes and he jumps or he runs around my house. That child has not changed because he's not a zombie, because he has a true case of ADHD. I think the zombies come along when it's not really what's going on. And I have a story about that too. His older brother was born with very large tonsils and adenoids. We knew that at 10 days old. We knew there was a good chance he was going to need those removed. But his pediatrician and the ENT said, just watch him, see if he starts to get sick. Let's see if he has any of the warning signs on needing them to be taken out. But they were much larger than they should have been on any baby. By the age of 7, we noticed he started to have sleep apnea. He would wake up not breathing. And after a couple of nights of this happening, to where we noticed it and heard it, I called the ENT and I took him in. The ENT, I've worked with this ENT since I was in high school. This man had performed a couple of different procedures on me. I knew and I trusted him. He looked in my baby's mouth, my 7-year-old, and he looked at me and he said, why were these not taken out years ago? And I said, the kid's never been sick. The sleep apnea is the first thing, the first problem we've really noticed. But we had missed some warning signs. We thought he had ADD. He was having a hard time focusing. And we had tried our hand at different types of ADD medication, which worked for a minute, but then didn't work. And he became a zombie. He became lethargic. And we couldn't figure it out. And we'd take him off the drugs and he would go back to acting again, wired. We couldn't figure it out until the ENT told us sleep apnea in a child can cause them to have ADD symptoms when they're awake because they're not sleeping. They're not sleeping well enough. So it causes them to be hyper because their bodies are trying to keep them awake. That's why the ADD medication didn't work, because he didn't have ADD. We just thought he did. We got those tonsils taken out, and overnight he became a new kid because he started sleeping. He had no more sleep apnea and therefore no ADD symptoms. I'm not saying that's why your child has ADD symptoms by any stretch of the imagination. That was just something the ENT told us that can happen. And in his case, it did. So he's never been diagnosed as ADD. We never put him back on medication. And he sleeps great. And he acts fine. It's like I said, every kid needs to be taken on a case-by-case basis. Not everyone is the same. This also ties in with depression and anxiety and stress. Now, neurodivergent children and adults have a really hard time with stress, anxiety, and depression. My husband cannot handle stress and anxiety. He is terrified of deadlines. And my son suffers from depression. It took a lot of years, 3 different therapists, for us to finally decide that the answer was antidepressants for him. Because we tried everything else first. We tried over-the-counter supplements that were supposed to help reduce stress and anxiety. He tried anxiety medication. He had 3 different therapists over the years and counselors, and none of it made a dent. It wasn't until the day that he sat down and told us that he wanted to self-delete, and we knew it was time for medication. We had tried everything else, but he says he was done with dealing with the world. So over the years, we've tried different medications because, again, everybody's chemistry is different, and it's about finding the right one that works. He's on one that works, and we're very thankful because he's happy, he has friends, and he is also doing great in school. We do what we can for our children. We help them succeed and grow. We want them to be successful adults. Medication doesn't have to be a big, scary thing if you do the research and your child genuinely needs it. Or if you're an adult and you genuinely need it. You have to talk to a doctor, maybe get an evaluation or 2 to figure out what's really going on with your ball of wax, as we found with our little one. This generalization of big pharma's taking over the world and trying to medicate all of us into zombies can be a possibility, but I still say, if you start looking at things as a case-by-case basis, and you truly want to help and understand the person that you're dealing with, you might find that a supplement will work just as well, if not better, than a major prescription. So think about it. Thank you for listening. I hope you like what you heard. I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment, share, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you next time.